So this David situation, man. I know y'all noticed the singer David allegedly killed his girlfriend. They're saying her body was frozen. Well, TMZ kind of said that, but come to find out, her body wasn't really frozen. That's what the LAPD said. TMZ kind of got some bad news from their source, but TMZ kind of like got some bad news because they said her body was frozen, but her body really wasn't frozen. You know what I'm saying? So, and TMZ, they put their article out there, and we already know TMZ is a big news source. So whatever they kind of put out, we already thinking like, listen, we already know y'all got the story. We already know that whatever y'all say is true. But and it's just right here. mm,
Continues. An LAPD official is pushing back on the claim that the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was frozen and decapitated, while the LA County Medical Examiner's Office has confirmed there is a hold in place on any information coming out about what may have happened to her. There is a lot to break down. Let's get into it right now.
And granted, if you don't know, this is a young lady who was dating David, who's a singer, and her body was found in his Tesla. And the police found her body, he was on tour, and now it's all these evidence and stuff like that. A lot of people saying that he probably killed her because the body was in his Tesla and by his house. But now he's a suspect, but then again, he's not really a suspect. So this case for the last few months has been going wild and all over the place. But I'm just gonna play a little bit of this video right here.
Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. There has been a lot of speculation on what happened to her, and a lot of confusion as to why the LA County Medical Examiner hasn't listed this information out yet. So the thought was that they're still waiting for toxicology reports, more information. It was listed as deferred. And then we go to the latest reporting from TMZ, which, by the way, I don't know, was maybe debunked. So it came out that sources close to the investigation told TMZ that Celeste's body was frozen, that it had actually been thawing out when it was found in the car, that she had been decapitated, that her limbs had been severed, cut into pieces. And whether that complicated knowing for sure what happened to her? Here's the problem. This just came out. An LAPD captain and commanding officer of the Robbery Homicide Division told People magazine, this isn't true. Quote, Celeste's body was not frozen. She was not decapitated. The whole frozen thing doesn't even make sense. Her body was in the car for weeks. Even if she had been frozen solid when she was put in the car, which there is no evidence to suggest she was, 5 or more weeks in the trunk of a car in sweltering heat in the middle of summer would not have resulted in a partially frozen body being discovered on September 8th. Now, Williams previously said that Celeste had been dead for at least several weeks. What is going on? And now we got to talk about what just happened, okay? This is real. The medical examiner's office has removed information from Celeste's case on its publicly available website. So according to a release from authorities yesterday, quote, at 10:54 a.m. on Friday, November 21st, the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner received a court order initiated by the Los Angeles Police Department to place a security hold on medical examiner case number 2025-14252 Celeste Rivas Hernandez. No records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and medical examiner report, can be released or posted on the website until further notice. The department's mission is to have full transparency with the community by providing information about our cases to empower people to make changes that save lives. Since becoming the department head, I've worked on eradicating the practice of placing security holds on medical examiner cases simply by law enforcement request. The practice of security holds is virtually unheard of in other counties and has not been proven to improve outcomes in the legal system. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in this case. The department previously received a request for a security hold from the LAPD on this case on September 15th, 2025, which was denied due to insufficient justification to warrant the hold. The department understands the public's interest in this case and remains committed to transparency when possible. Information will be made available once the court order is lifted. For questions about the court order, timeline, and the law enforcement investigation into this death, you can contact the LAPD. Now, I will add this. LAPD Captain Mike Bland told NBC4 Investigates, quote, "This is an ongoing RHD homicide case, Robbery Homicide Division, and the purpose of the court order is to ensure the LAPD receives information on this case from the medical examiner's office before the public does." Now, by the way, Steve Fisher, who we've had on this program before, the private investigator who was hired by the owner of that rental property that David was reportedly staying at, which was near where this abandoned Tesla with Celeste's body inside where it was found and where it was towed. Again, someone we've had on this show numerous times to talk about his investigation. He wrote this on X, quote, "I appreciate the commitment to transparency by the LA County Medical Examiner's Office. They previously denied an LAPD request for a security hold on the case. Now, LAPD obtained a court order sealing the case. The timing of that, along with the wording of the news release from the medical examiner's office, leads me to believe a cause and manner of death have been determined in the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and the ME's investigative and autopsy reports are completed." Is he right? Now, to couple that, something else I got to talk about. According to the LA Times, according to court documents that they reviewed, a detective has categorized this investigation as a, quote, "investigation into murder." Now, that is very significant because the LAPD previously indicated that there might not be a crime beyond concealment of a body. So this was paperwork in support of not releasing the ME's findings, which I just mentioned. And you had LAPD Detective Joshua Byers, who said in a declaration that was filed that release of these autopsy findings could taint or jeopardize this apparent murder investigation. Quote, "Will reveal or tend to reveal the ongoing investigation and the integrity of the investigation, as well as the identity of witnesses and or informants who are cooperating with law enforcement and county." Doctor, thank you so much for coming on. Let's start first off. What is a security hold, and how often do you see something like that?
It's very rare that we see a security hold, but usually when we see it, it means that there is very valuable and specific information about that cause of death and the manner of death that they do not want to release to the public. It means that there is something so unique about that death that they want to hold that information close to the chest so that they can still conduct their investigation without the public frenzy that they know will happen once they start releasing details.
I think one of the reasons also why, in my opinion, I think why the police officers, LAPD, you know what I'm saying, detectives, whatever, don't really want to release so much information because I think if they release so much information, I think they might can be sued by David. If I'm not mistaken, I'm just in my opinion. I think they might can be sued by David because in the beginning he really wasn't a suspect. They were just questioning him, and he wasn't really helping them with the investigation. And now they're saying he's a suspect, and also they said there's a second person that kind of helped David with this situation. Allegedly, the person that drove the car to some desert or something like that and drove it back. So they had that suspect, but nobody really know who the second suspect is. But in my opinion, I think that's why they don't want to release so much information because David might allegedly might end up suing them in the end if he's not found guilty or found, cause of her death. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if that makes sense.
So whether that's drugs were found in the system, the way the body was found, they've said that she wasn't dismembered, but was there something else unique about the trauma that could have been associated with her body? They have something specific that they do not want the public to know right now. And in my humble opinion, as a person who works with law enforcement and as a coroner who does active investigations, if there's something very specific and we release that to the public, we could totally mess up the entire investigation. You could lose witnesses. They don't want to deal with whatever information was found. Right now, they are still doing an active investigation. And so if holding that information close to their chest is going to help them get justice for this potentially murdered 15-year-old, then I think that they should do it, and everyone should be in agreement with that.
So do you agree with Steve that right now the ME's office has definitively a cause and manner of death for Celeste Rivas Hernandez?
I do believe they know what her cause and manner of death are at this point. And the fact that they have pushed for this hold so hard, they denied the first one and then they went back again.
What did you make of that? The fact that they requested it all the way back September 15th, 7 days after her body was found.
They want to keep information close to them for this investigation. You have to think about this. You have someone who's a celebrity, you have someone who has money, power, resources, and the people around that person also have money, power, and resources. So, how do you infiltrate and penetrate all of those things? If you are giving all of the information to the public? I'm all for transparency, but gosh, we want to know what happened to her, and the people doing the investigation should have that information first before
Right.
the public gets it and tears it up.
And just to be clear, if we take all this as true, if it was denied all the way back in September, there's a possibility, would I be totally wrong by saying maybe they didn't have the cause and manner of death yet? Maybe it was too premature. Maybe it was too early for the LAPD to request that no information be shared. But now the ME's office may have cause and manner of death and the whole situation has changed. And maybe you're right. There's something in there that they say this is going to taint the investigation. So do you think that my timeline might be right there?
Oh, absolutely. And here's the other thing. When you have a body that is decomposed, it takes longer to get that cause and manner of death. The body is breaking down. It is literally liquefying. You've got a car found in a hot area encased in metal, and the body is going to break down even faster. Whether she was frozen, not frozen, you put a body out in the heat, it's going to decompose. And we don't know how this body exactly was found. Was it found encased in plastic? Was it found inside of a suitcase? How was the body found? How was it dressed? How was it draped or clothed? All of those things become so important. This girl's been missing for a year before her body was discovered.
And there have been reports about when her last known sighting was. I will get into a second when it seems authorities believe she might have died. Put that to the side for a second. You mentioned something very important here. This back and forth on freezing. I said this in our episode yesterday. If this reporting is true, not true, how distressing this must be for the family to hear something like this. But I have to tell you, when I was doing the episode, I was like, it doesn't make sense that the body was found thawing. It was in a hot car. When would a frozen body been transferred? It seems that when the car was parked there, the body was already inside. So the fact that you have, it's very hard to get definitive information in this case. And yes, there's speculation. And sources say this. But this idea of the body being frozen and thawing out, I got to say, I'm not surprised that it's been debunked.
Has it wrong. The body really wasn't frozen because it really doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Because she was in that car for a long time, and in Los Angeles can really heat up, as in the temperature can really get hot. You know what I'm saying? So it's a crazy situation, man. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'm not gonna bore you with that, man. So hopefully we can find out what's going on. Like the main thing is like, will David be the one they arrest for this girl disappearance and her death? Me, in the beginning, I was 50% sure that, yeah, this guy's guilty. You know what I'm saying? This guy's guilty. But then again, it's like we really don't know. And I say he was guilty in the beginning because the body was found in his car by his house. And next thing you know, you on tour and they got pictures and videos of y'all together. So that was allegedly your girlfriend, even though she was younger than you. You know what I'm saying? So situation is wild. I'm not sure, man, but it's just this case is getting crazy and crazy every day.